14:20 in the morning for this January the 20th, 2023. Today's show is brought to you by Mahler Brothers, mahlerbrothers.com. Use promo code 1420 bros. That's 1420 BROS for 10% off all of your golf apparel at mahlerbrothers.com today. It's a great little website. Belly up member, Josh Mahler, smart kid, really fantastic. Anyway, big weekend in the world of sports. We got obviously the NFL Divisional Playoffs happening. You got Hockey Day in Canada. Tomorrow is an everyday hockey day in Canada, but game starting around 10:30 Mountain Standard Time tomorrow. So there's sports on for your viewing pleasure all day, every day as there is. Make sure you make 14:20 in the morning a part of your morning every day. Thank you for being allowing us into your homes and your ears every day. We greatly appreciate the support you guys are giving to us. But yeah, every day's pretty much hockey day in Canada. I don't watch a whole bunch of the pomp and circumstance of hockey day in Canada. Personally, I'm a little bit tired of Ron McLean and his heart of a nation and the hand on the hip thing and the fireside chats and stuff. I miss the hot stove lounge. I miss that a lot. But the Hockey Day in Canada stuff has nothing to do with Don Cherry either. I'm not a big Don. I thought Don Cherry should have been gone a while ago. Is this the Don Cherry Ron McLean feud that happened in 2019? Man, time flies a little bit, doesn't it? But yeah, I was over the whole Don Cherry thing a few years prior to that. So my disdain for Ron McLean has nothing to do with Don Cherry. I thought Don Cherry should have been gone a few years prior to, a lot of years prior to. Actually, he was a staple on Saturday nights. There's no getting around that. He was great when he was really great, but when he got bad, he was bad. And I'm not being woke, and I'm not being this, I'm not being that, I'm not being political. I just think that Don Cherry was well past his prime, and maybe there's a certain quarterback who should go out on a high note or a higher note and seeing how bad it might go. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Tommy boy. That's just my thoughts on that. Anyways, the other night, the Florida Panthers were in. They were in Toronto. They lost to the Leafs. Paul Maurice had some disparaging comments towards the officials that night. He got fined 25 grand. Paul Maurice, he's a journeyman coach. He's been around the league for a long time. I'm not exactly sure how he's been around the league for a long time. He's been a National Hockey League coach for 22 years. 13 of those years, he did not make the playoffs in a league that over half of the teams make the playoffs year in, year out. And even back then, there was less teams. He was still missing the playoffs. Yeah, you have some bad teams, but how coaches continue to get hired is kind of a mystery to me. Paul Maurice, I don't know how great of a coach he is. It doesn't much matter. I think there's I don't think he's that good of a coach, considering he's got a team in the Florida Panthers that was a President Trophy winner last year, and now they are not in the playoff race. They're not in a playoff hunt. They are in the fight for their lives. Maybe it's a Matthew Tkachuk thing. Us here at 1420 World Headquarters, we're not the biggest Chucky fans, as you guys might know. For the people who haven't listened to the show before, yeah, we don't like Matthew Tkachuk around here a whole bunch. And I don't know what it is, the Tkachuk Incorporated thing. I like his brother, but I'm not a big Chucky fan. But anyways, maybe that's the problem in Florida, is they got him in that dressing room, plus Paul Maurice, because you look at Maurice, who was gracefully asked to vamoose last year, and he did end up resigning, I guess. But I think it was one of those things. Hey, if you don't resign, we're going to fire you. And this is in Winnipeg last season. He was a longtime coach for the Jets, got them to the third round one year, but things weren't going so good for the Jets last year. But now, surprise, surprise, Paul Maurice is gone, and they now have a shot at their second in the Central Division. What's their record? 29-16. Whereas the Florida Panthers are 22-20-5, fighting for their lives. So there's one constant here: the team that Paul Maurice wasn't coaching was really good, and the team that he is coaching isn't. Maurice, maybe don't focus on the officials. And I think it's always a cop-out. I know that I'm a bit of a referee hugger and an official hugger because I am a baseball umpire, and I don't think that you should ever leave the game in a official's hands. If the game is in an official's hands, there's a good chance you're going to lose that game. Maybe you should change your coaching philosophies. And it's an act of desperation in my eyes to push the blame on somebody else instead of your players or yourself or somebody else, to start blaming officials for your downcomings and everything else. So what about the other 20 losses you got, or 19 lost, I guess it would be, this season? Are those the refs' fault too? Yeah, refs do make mistakes. Yeah, there can be a controversial call. Reffing a hockey game, I think, would be extremely tough because of the speed of the game. It's great that they have the two referees and two linesmen out there now, because it would be, you think about it, how fast those guys are moving down the ice, and you got to see a lot, and you get that back referee can help out a lot. But are they perfect? No. But like I said, I don't think that Paul Maurice is going to do himself any favors by complaining to the national or to the media, and then getting the that kind of a response. I don't think you should. Sometimes saying nothing is better than saying something. Sometimes silence is golden. And Paul Maurice, you should maybe to learn that, maybe you should have stayed in the press box, or you were in the media for a while there on Sports Center or whatever, or Sports Central at noon or whatever it was. Yeah, I'm not a big Maurice fan. He had that one great year with the Carolina Hurricanes where they went to the finals, lost to a powerhouse Detroit Red Wings team, but in general, he hasn't had a whole bunch of luck in the National Hockey League, in my opinion. You missed the playoffs 13 out of your 22 years, and how you still have a job, and how these coaches get recycled, I don't understand it. You look at the NFL, how they're talking about bringing back this guy and bringing back that guy, how these coaches just go from team to team and they wear out their welcome. They go somewhere else. We talked about last night on the 1420 podcast with Dave. And by the way, thank you, Daryl Moore, for joining the show last night. We had a great talk last night. If you guys haven't listened to that show yet, make sure you download it later on today and give that a listen after 1420 in the morning. It was a great show. We had a lot of laughs, and he's got some pretty high hopes for the Buffalo Bills. I kind of crashed his hopes there at the end of the show. It was funny. Buffalo's on a bit of a wagon. Their hockey team too. They're playing pretty good hockey. Watch out for them. Hockey Day in Canada tomorrow. Anyways, here's my little rant about Paul Maurice and the thing. Don't leave things in the referee's hands, because if it's in the referee's hands, there's a good chance you're going to lose that hockey game. The Manscaped word of the day for the Beard Hedger 2000, I call it. Get your pictures in. Make sure you guys get those in to get yourself a free Beard Hedger. Retail value is about $150, $190 or something, whatever it is, but it's free. The Manscaped word of the day today is beer. It's Friday, so go for a beer after work today, or if you don't not work and have one right now, who cares? You're a grown up and do whatever you want. Have a bowl of cereal with your beer. It don't much matter. Anyways, on this day in what year was it? I don't have it written down. On this day in 1985, I don't even know. Pittsburgh Penguins star Mario Lemieux became the second player in NHL history to score 50 goals in less than 50 games, as he did it in game number 44 in a Penguins loss to the first incarnation of the Winnipeg Jets, who then became the Phoenix Coyotes, which became the Arizona Coyotes, which is a complete disaster. The only person to ever do it any faster is, you guessed it, Mr. Wayne Gretzky himself. Did it in 38 games. He scored 5 goals against the Flyers that night. The last one was an empty netter, if I'm not mistaken. Remember I think the Flyers were wearing their Cooperalls back then, and Gretzky was flailing around the ice. He wasn't a flailing tender like myself, but he was flailing around the ice, and they tackled him on. It's a great moment in hockey history. I think that was about 82 he did that, 82 or 83. So Lemieux must have been about 87, 88. It don't matter. You guys can look it up. And happy birthday to Ozzie Guillen, born on this day in 1964. The now 59-year-old was a 3-time All-Star, played in 1,817 games over X amount of, played 17 seasons with the Chicago White Sox, Baltimore Orioles, and Tampa Bay Rays. He won American League Rookie of the Year in 1985. Went on to manage for 8 seasons with the Chicago White Sox. Had a great career. He was a hell of a player. Just a bit of a mouthpiece as he was a manager, if I recall, with the Chicago White Sox. Man, he's good behind the mic. A little controversy, was good. Speaking of baseball, did you see that? This is actually, maybe you didn't see. I'm the baseball dork in January, but Aroldis Chapman is the Cuban Missile is about to sign a contract with the Kansas City Royals. Oh, how the mighty have fallen for poor Aroldis Chapman. It's something just to behold, to see his career kind of go down the drain a little bit. And for Kansas City to they can't be paying more than $1 million, I wouldn't think, for that. Like, it's unbelievable how he was the cock of the walk not that many years ago for the Yankees. Like 2-3 years ago, he was something else, and then he lost the strike zone, started to rely too much on his slider and his off-speed stuff, because everybody throws 100 now. It's not a big thing, and he was getting lit up as the Yankees closer, and he lost that job last year, injuries, and then his tattoo situation on his leg, and there's all kinds of crap going on with Mr. Aroldis Chapman, and most people don't like him anyways because of his abuse situation with his wife. He was never really that beloved, but it was something to see when I saw him pitch in the bullpen in 2017 or 18, whatever year it was, when he was in with the Yankees. I was sitting out in 103. It was actually more so with my sister in 2019. She went and watched him throw, and seeing a guy throw that hard, because he was touching about 103, 104, and seeing a baseball go that, you can hear the ball moving. It's something to behold, man. Like I've seen pitches 94, 95 as an umpire, but Chapman going at 104, that was something to watch. And the crowds that would clamor around the bullpen to see him warm up, it was something to behold, like I said. Anyways, big big NFL weekend. As I said, the offset of this show, the make your bets at Bodog later on today. This is just a walking commercial today, isn't it? Mahler Brothers, Bodog, Manscaped, and who we got next? SeatGeek. Yeah, we'll talk about them in a second. But Bodog, go and make a play today at Bodog. I got this weekend, I got Kansas City, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and San Francisco to win those 4 games. I think that they're all going to be really, really good football games. The Philadelphia one scares me a little bit. For some reason, I think the Giants actually have an opportunity to win this football game. It's going to be a really interesting game, that one. I think San Fran wins in a walk. Christian McCaffrey has been such a great acquisition, probably the best acquisition in football this year, the way he's racking up points. I think the over-under for yards gained is only 67.5. So I would take the over on that as well in Bodog. But anyways, for those 4 picks, once again, we'll go Kansas City, Cincinnati, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. Put down 20, win yourself 119, and make a play at Bodog today. Anyways, good weekend here at 1420 World Headquarters. No show tomorrow. I'm going to take the weekend off. Recording on Sunday the Flailing Tender podcast, but nothing coming your way tomorrow. But you can always catch up on all our other shows that we put out. There's 1420 in the morning every day, and then there is the daily shows. We got the Flailing Tender, the OG 1420 Sports Bar podcast, Hey Blue for umpires, and Foul Tips for you baseball guys out there. Lots going on here at 1420 World Headquarters. We appreciate all the support you got. We have an online store that's getting booted up with lots of merchandise for to support the show in other ways. Getting all my advertising in on this Friday morning, so you guys can go and have a good time. Enjoy the show, everybody. Have a great weekend. Be safe, and remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a good night, folks. Talk to you again on Monday morning.
The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.